Good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler program, and it is June 17th. It's the day after my birthday, y'all, and I have a after birthday sort of conversation I want to share with you. I want to talk about with you. Listen, if you're just stopping by for the first time, my channel is all about inspiration, motivation, and challenging us to become better, to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. So if you haven't done so, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel because again, it's about inspiration. Um, and listen, I'm only here for 1800 seconds every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you say, well, what distinguishes you from what everybody else is doing? I'm only here for 1800 seconds every Tuesday and every Thursday. I try to make sure I don't waste your time. I try to make sure every second is significant, every minute rather is meaningful, and every moment makes a difference in your life. So whether you're sharing your living room, your dining room, whatever space you're sharing, for that I am thankful. I want to talk tonight about how are we doing life? How are we handling life? I think one of the ways that we handle life is by making sure that we look at it from a very healthy perspective. And tonight I want to talk about not really just the power of positive thinking, but I want to talk about so many other things. All right. And again, you're going to get this sort of after birthday conversation from Cutler tonight. So do me a favor. Tell somebody that Cutler is on. He's going to talk about how to handle life. He's going to talk about so many other things, and he's going to do it from that book that's called Billboards to Better. And so tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. I'll be right back.
Let's talk to Cutler. One more thing, like, subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk to Cutler.
Yes. And I had to calm myself down because I was dancing to the music. Come on, but I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing. Devin does an amazing job singing that. Juan did an amazing job putting it all together. But listen, I want to say thank you all for joining me every Tuesday and Thursday. Every time you show up, I'm strengthened by your presence alone. So I want to say thank you for that. I'm going to shout out our LTTC VIPs in just a moment. But again, we base our conversations these Tuesdays and Thursday nights from this book right here, Billboards to Better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration along the highway of life. And the book is available over on Amazon.com. You can get it from there, or you can just get it from my website, www.gbcutler.com. Listen, I tell you, I want to do this. I want to shout out our LTTC VIPs. They are Sonia Bailey. Thank you so much for joining in. Annie Cutler, thank you so much. And Yvette Belfonte, thank you. And I want to do a special shout out because while my birthday was yesterday, Yvette's birthday was Sunday. So happy birthday to you, Yvette. Thank you so much for spending your evening here. It's good to see all of you. Raydella, Lady, thank you all so much for tuning in and for joining. By the way, I had a fantastic, can I just tell you all about my birthday for just a moment? I had a fantastic birthday. I was born at 9:15 a.m. And at 9:15 a.m., I am always ever so thankful for my mom. I would call my mother and say, hey, listen, your son is just a year older, but I will make sure I call her after 9:15. One year, as people were offering me these birthday greetings early in the morning, trying to make sure they were the first person, my mother says, well, you know, you weren't born to 9:15. So it's really not your birthday. I thought about that. I took it to heart. So again, thank you all for just sharing this time and space with me. Again, this channel is about motivation. It's about inspiration. It's about sharing this time and space to see what nuggets we can capture to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. You all do me a favor from time to time. If I see a first timer, I'll shout that person out, and I'm going to ask you all to do the same thing. So it looks like my very good friend Lily is on. So if you all see Lily in the chat, make sure that you say hi to Lily. Thank you, my friend, for spending this time with me. Here's what we do. Every Tuesday and Thursday, here for 1800 seconds only, we're reading from this book, my 7th book. We take the quote, we talk about the quote, we unpeel the quote, and we give it application for the day. All right. On Tuesdays, I read the quotes from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. On Thursdays, I'll read the quote from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That Saturday quote, take it. Do what you want to do with it. Use it to start a conversation. Use it to start a meditation. And just make sure that you share it with somebody. All right. we're going to get started. I'm going to go into the quote for Sunday. No, today is Thursday, so I'm going to go to the quote for Wednesday. The quote for Wednesday, by the way, which was my birthday yesterday, June 16th. Shout out to me. Shout out to, looks like Vertus is in the chat room. Say hi to Vertus as well, y'all. It was her birthday. The quote for June 16th, and I will tell you this. I was very deliberate in what I placed on this date. Very deliberate I was on what I placed on this date. The quote says this: the reward of my discomfort is that I get to look like God. Every challenge that we overcome transforms us more into the likeness of God. Every challenge that we overcome transforms us more into the likeness of God. Now, hang on, because as I said to you, this channel is about inspiration, motivation, and trying to make sure that we capture some nuggets today to show up a little bit better than we did, that we show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. It doesn't mean that today was all a wash. We may not have dotted every I, crossed every T, but it was not a loss. It wasn't a wash. We just take this time, these 1800 seconds, to see, what can I do now? What can I glean? What can I learn in this moment that will make me just a little bit better tomorrow? So thank you all for sharing this space. This particular quote, again, if there's any quote that I strategically placed on purpose, it's definitely this one, because that was my birthday. This quote reminds me to put things in their proper perspective. It gives me a healthy and positive vantage point, y'all, from which I try to see life. Because I'm telling you, life does not come with a user's guide. It doesn't come with a help menu. And quite often, it does not come with a manual of instructions. And that's why we take the time to learn as we go. That's why we take the time to pay attention to the examples that are laid out before us, and the guidance and the advice and the counsel that we are given while we're walking this thing out. And if there's anything that I can share from my years of experience, heading towards 60 years of experience, is how to handle and how to look at the not so good things that we face in life. Because if we can all be honest, we recognize that life is really not a walk in the ballpark. It's not a walk through the tulips. It's not a tiptoe down, heading, the ease on down the road. It's not a yellow brick road. So here's the thing, you all. What do we think about the trials that we endure? What do we think about the tribulations that we encounter? What do we think about the hurdles that we have to jump? What do we think about the heartaches and the heartbreaks that we endure? What do we think about the bullets that we often have to dodge and that we're constantly trying to dodge each day? Life is sometimes difficult. What do we think about the pitfalls and the potholes that we're constantly trying to avoid? What do we think about the lessons that we sometimes fail and the opportunities that we sometimes miss? What do we think about the growing pains of life that we constantly encounter? Let's talk about, how do we look at these things? How do we handle them? And I guess you all have asked me these questions on a good day, because I really have learned that every challenge transforms me more into the image of God. Everything that I endure reminds me that I can endure just a little more. Every heartbreak reminds me that my heart is a little stronger than it was just before it broke. Every time I fall down, every time I stumble, it reminds me that my legs are still strong enough to get up again. Life has taught me this. It's about how you look at it, you all. Every time somebody talks about me, whether they know me or not, it reminds me that my skin is thick and my skin is resilient, and so is yours. Reminds me that I have the capacity to love like Christ. When you know that you can love people who haven't necessarily done anything to earn or deserve your love, you're loving like Christ. And every time, you all, here's the thing, take hold to this. And if you haven't captured a nugget for tomorrow, here is one that I hope that you can grab onto. Every time darkness shows up in one area of my life, it reminds me that God will turn the light on somewhere else. Why, Cutler? Because he loves us just that much. He loves us too much to leave us in darkness. He loves us too much to leave us in sadness. He loves us too much to leave us in a state of disillusionment, wondering, will this ever get better? Will this ever improve? Will I make it through? But he gives me a certainty, and he gives us all a certainty and an assurance and a kind of hope that says this too, whatever it is, this too will pass. And truly, trouble won't last always. So I've come to look at the discomfort in life the same way that I guess I sort of look at the vaccination, you all. How do I look at it? It's going to hurt for a little while, but ultimately it's going to make me better. It's going to make me stronger. And you all know that sometimes, from time to time, I'll pull out a scripture and share it with you. Scripture refers to these challenges as light afflictions. And they remind us that every time we endure a light affliction, it just increases the strength of our reward. I was telling somebody just the other day that one of the things I've learned to do is to play the hand that I've been dealt. Kind of like spades. I'm telling you this. I've learned to play the hand that I've been dealt. I may not win every hand, but God knows I don't lose every hand either. And even though I may not win every hand, I still walk away a winner. I walk away, we walk away, you are more than a conqueror. And I walk away reflecting the victory of the winner that's down on the inside of me. That's what's most important. All of these challenges, all of these hurdles, all of these potholes, all of these obstacles, you all let them cause you to walk away reflecting the victory of the winner that's down on the inside of you. My challenges don't always feel good, and I'm sure yours don't either. But my faith says that they're making me better. Every time I deal with death, every time I deal with disease, every time I deal with sickness, every time I deal with sorrow, heartache, heartbreak, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it is. But I'm telling you all this. If you handle it right, what is it doing, Cutler? It is uncovering the likeness of God that is within you. So what did I do? I placed that strategically in the book on my birthday to remind me, don't be disillusioned, Cutler, about the challenges of life, because you've learned that handling life sometimes comes genuinely and most sincerely from your ability to look at it a different way. It's all about how you look at the glass, whether it's half empty or half full. I've often said, but you have to look at the fact that at least you're holding the glass. So I offer you another perspective to see that the discomfort of what we go through in life really is just an opportunity to peel off those layers that really reflect the true victory that's down on the inside. The reality is that life is challenging, but the longer you move along in this thing called life, you pick up these nuggets. And then you realize that when I see that challenge again, I know how to handle you, because you thought you were coming to do me harm. But what you really did, you came to just scrape off some of the layers that reveal the true light that's down on the inside, the victory that's down on the inside. Thank you, challenge. You all, I just wanted to share that one with you from my quote for June the 16th. Again, if you're joining me for the first time, my channel is all about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about grabbing a nugget to be able to move, to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did yesterday. And so I choose to call you from time to time the passengers. Why? Because we're just riding along this highway of life, reading these billboards. Not all of them will apply to us. I recognize that not every single bulletin, not every single billboard will apply to all of us. But what do? We read them, we share them with somebody else, because perhaps they can apply to somebody else. So you don't need the book to join the conversation, but it helps, because guess what, you all? You have over 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration. How do I know? I wrote the book. I put a few extras in there. It's at the back of the book. Go and get it. All right. I'm going to move on to the quote for June 17th. The quote for June 17th says, "Stop putting human characteristics on God, and let's put godly characteristics on humans." Wow. All right. Cutler, how can you unpack that and turn that into something inspirational and motivational? Let me see. Have you all ever heard people say things like, "I know God is tired of hearing me"? Honestly, y'all, talk to me. Have you ever heard anybody say something like that? Listen, I know God is tired of hearing me. The last time I heard a statement like that, it made me realize that I really should count my blessings, because God is not like humanity. I am so glad that he does not get tired of hearing me. You all know we grow impatient with people. We run out of mercy. We're already short on forgiveness to start with. And we seem to sometimes have a deficit of love. And I'm telling you this, you all, because that is the reflection of who we are, who we sometimes are. And what will we do? We will then turn around and ascribe those attributes and those virtues and those characteristics to God. But he's not like that. I'm so glad that he's not like that. I'm so glad that he's not short-tempered. Woo, can you imagine if God was short-tempered? I'm so glad that he does not suffer mood swings. I'm so glad that he does not suffer mood swings. I get it, Molly. Listen, and I encourage you, yeah, just keep trying. You all know this is a no judgment, no condemnation zone here. Just, hey, listen, just keep trying. He's there for whatever you decide that you're going to. All right. I'm so glad, you all, that he does not make us work to earn his love. But what do I believe? I believe that he loves us even sometimes when people don't want him to love us. I had the privilege of doing the privilege, the honor, and the pain of doing my father's eulogy some months ago. And I remember standing over my father's casket and I was just honoring him and remembering him. And I said to the people, listen, God loved my father. I know some of you all didn't want him to, but he still loved him anyway. It is true, you all. He loves us even when some people don't want him to. Really, he grants us favor. He gives us the benefits of his blessings, even when we've done nothing to really earn it, to merit it, or to warrant it. He wakes us up to the promise of a new day, sometimes when we have already wasted and squandered the previous day. He does that for us. He does that. I'm going to tell you all this. I'm going to tell you all this. He does not categorize our transgressions. He doesn't classify our sins and then decides whether or not he's going to hold us accountable for one more than the other. I'm telling you, he doesn't do that. That's God. God does not take on the characteristics of humans. Can I be transparent with you all for just a moment? Really, if you Google me and read my bio, you'll find out some things about me. God is not impressed by my degrees. He's not impressed by my books. He's not impressed by any accomplishments or successes that I have, but he's more impressed by the strength of my faith and the purity of my heart. So what am I saying this evening? Don't let people restrict, curtail, diminish. Don't let them do it. Don't let them restrict, curtail, or diminish the incomparable majesty or the inestimable power of God's presence in your life. And his presence doesn't show up in all of us the same way. It does not. It absolutely does not. Don't let people reduce your concept of God based on our flawed assessments of how we sometimes see each other. Don't do that. Don't do it. Good to see you, my friend Auntie. Listen, let us strive, you all, to see humanity through God's eyes rather than trying to see God through man's eyes. Stop putting human characteristics on God. All right. I just thought I'd take that moment. I'm telling you all. So this is kind of the after birthday conversation that I have. Just sometimes when I celebrate birthdays, there's a whole lot of retrospection and inflection that I sometimes do. So I hope you all get the benefit of all that tonight. All right, we're reading and sharing quotes from this book, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation along the highway of life. Listen, y'all, I only have 1,800 seconds, and I think I'm going to do something again special tonight that I haven't, always done because it's my birthday week. I think I'm going to share some more of my poetry in just a moment. But I want to get through this last quote. All right, I want to get through this last quote. I hope you all are enjoying this conversation because, again, for me, this is about how do we handle life. How do we handle life? One of the ways that we handle life is making sure that we look at it from a healthy perspective. And then if we choose to believe in the creator of the whole wide world, we have to realize that, listen, wow, he is not confined or restricted to the ideology that sometimes people want to confine or restrict him to. He's vast. He's incomparable. And his power, even alone in our lives, is inestimable. All right? I've said to people before, listen, hey, he knows your voice. He just wants to hear you a little bit more. I want to go to the quote for June 18th. The quote for June 18th is near and dear to my heart. It says, don't kick people while they are down because their climb back up just might save your life. Woo! Don't kick people while they are down because their climb back up just might save your life. And a lot of times we make assessments as to how and where and when people are down. We have the audacity and the ego to look at people and decide when they are down. We compare them to us on a spiritual level, on a financial level, on an educational level, on an economic level, on a race level, on all these kinds of levels. We will look at people, make a comparison, and then we will try to decide with our self-righteous selves if we are superior to them in any of those categories. We do it. So I want to challenge us not to do that. All right? This is a reminder to simply do one thing. Treat people right. Play fair. Be nice. All of those things that we were told as a child but somehow forgot to apply as we became adults, that's what this is about. Do right by people. Treat people like you want to be treated. That doesn't mean that they will always treat you like you want to be treated. But we're not commanded, we're not instructed to treat people like they treat us. If they would, this would be a fight at the OK Corral. It would truly be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a child for a child, a loved one for a loved one. It would be all of that. But we are commanded to treat people like we want to be treated. That's what dignity and character and integrity is all about. No, I don't do tit for tat, but I still treat you like I want to be treated. Why? Because what I realized, you all, I wrote this one book. We don't always get it right the first time. Lessons for the next generation. Let me tell you why I wrote this book. Based on this whole concept that we don't treat people the way that they treat us, but we treat them like we want them to be treated, like we want them to treat us. Treat people like you want to be treated, not how they treat you. Why is that near and dear to my heart? Because I realize there's a generation coming after me, and I have to model peace for them. I have to model righteousness. I have to model justice. I have to model fair play for them. Doesn't mean that I always got it, but I have the responsibility and the accountability of modeling something for the next generation. This whole book that I wrote, Lessons for the Next Generation. We don't always get it right, but we can model for them how to get it right. We can't be reminded of enough, you all. Don't kick people when they're down. Why do people do that? Just because you're broke, you don't have to try to break anybody else. Just because you're hurt, you don't have to try to hurt anybody else. Just because you're wounded, it doesn't mean that you have to see anybody else wounded. And just because you're lost, it doesn't mean that you have to misguide anybody else. And I can tell you all this from a very transparent place because I was guilty of doing that. I lived in a space where nothing sometimes seemed to have been going right. And my life reflected the notion that misery loves company. One day I looked around and I decided that I would no longer become the company that I had invited into my party of misery. I asked myself, what kind of pain must I have been in to invite somebody to that kind of party? You all, I'm being transparent. I hope you all can grasp this. So I decided that I would pull myself up by my bootstraps. And the only kind of party that I would have after that, it would not be a party of misery, but it would be a party that says it's going to get better. A party that says I'm better than this. A party that says, yes, I can make it. I decided to throw myself the kinds of parties that would say everything is going to be all right. God is on my side. I do have the victory. Why am I sharing this? Why am I sharing this? Because sometimes the very thing and the very one that we beat up on is ourselves. And I want to encourage you all, don't do that. We've got to get to a point where we love ourselves more than the pain that we inflict on ourselves. Let me say that again. We've got to get to the point where we love ourselves more than the pain that we inflict on ourselves. And I say that because sometimes we are gluttons for self-inflicted punishment. But let's be better than this. Let's not harm anybody else, but for God's sakes, let's not harm ourselves either. We are better and greater. We are better and greater than that. Why do I say that? Because we have the DNA of the Creator down on the inside of us, and we are loved. Every single day we walk around in and because of the power of love. So no, I don't kick other people while they are down. Neither do I kick myself. I told y'all you're going to get the, the post-birthday celebrating cutlet this evening. And I hope that you all can lay hold to those lessons that are really, truly near and dear to my heart. Don't kick other people. Learn to love them. But again, don't kick yourselves. Learn to love yourselves more than the pain that you inflict upon yourself. All right? Make sure you do that. Learn to love yourself. I want to thank you all for spending these 1,800 seconds with me. Time flies when you're having fun. But here's how I want to close this evening. Again, because this is my birthday week, I want to share 2 or 3 of my favorite poems with you. And those poems, all of my books are available over on Amazon.com, or they're available through my website at www.gbcutler.com. All right, they're available through my website as well. I want to share, as I close, a few poems from this book, Who We Once Were. This one says, I am loved. When there are lemons in your life and blahs in your days, when there are oceans in your path and mountains in your ways, don't stop to ponder, don't miss a beat. Simply tell yourself, I am larger than this, for I am loved. I am loved matchlessly, unconditionally, invisibly, you see, yes, I am loved. When in your mind there is confusion and in your heart there is pain, when there are no stars in your nights but your days are filled with rain, don't weep and wonder, don't ever skip a tune. Simply tell yourself, I am better than this because I am loved. I am loved perpetually, undeservingly, like no other. I tell you, yes, I am loved. When anxiety overwhelms you and uncertainty overtakes you, when insecurity befriends you and all your fears come to shake you, do not only look without, for you must look within. And simply tell yourself, I am greater than this because I am loved. I am loved without a limit, beyond measure or degree. I am greater than my circumstances, for I know assuredly God loves me. I have to breathe after that because at some point you realize in this thing that's called life, there really and truly is power in love. And as I've said to you, learn how to love yourself, you all. Don't kick other people, but don't kick yourselves either. Don't kick yourself because I want you to learn how to like yourself. Here's a poem I wrote. It says, I like me. Very simplistic, very short, but let's see if we can get the power of this message. I am uniquely me and distinctly me. I find nothing wrong with me, usually. I can laugh at me and cry for me. I can chuckle with me and giggle in spite of me. I even dance with me and sing for me. Oh, I would offer you me, but today I'll give me to me because right now I am the only me that I have, and I really want to keep me. I hope that you all are enjoying these. I have one more that I want to share with you. I want to share this poem. I was going to read one, but I'm going to flip to another one. It's called Living. The last time we chatted, I shared this poem and I said, just live. Live life, play the hand you've been dealt. I think for those of you who've enjoyed birthdays, Yvette and Vertus and some of us whose birthdays are here in the month of June, I want to offer this to you. Let's just live and share the message to everybody. Just live. Thank you all for the birthday greetings. Living, coming and going, rushing and slow and staying on your feet just to make ends meet. But that ain't living. Walking and talking like you've got it all together, but just for one moment, you would really not rather think about it. Because that ain't living. Getting up, getting dressed, getting out and getting there on time, next time, but out of time, this time, all that ain't living. Riding and driving, selling and flying, buying and spending and buying and buying and buying when you ain't got no money, please, that ain't living. Scrapping and scraping when your heart is aching, coughing and choking when your spirit is broken. Nope, that ain't living. Living is loving and being worry-free, forgetting what I was and now just trying to be. Used to be young, but not no more. Used to be rich. Always been poor. But living ain't all about the things that you've got. It's just making sure that you really know what works for you, what's good for you, what helps you out when your heart wants to lie and your mind wants to doubt. Living is believing and believing in something. Living is having it all when all you've got is nothing. Living is a life with a delicate touch. Living, my friend, is wishing that you didn't have to wish for so much. I want to thank you all for spending these 1,800 seconds with me. Just as you're joining the chat, and I hope that you're gleaning something from the conversation, I hope that you're getting some inspiration and motivation. I am motivated, I'm inspired because you chose to share one of the most valuable things that you have with me, and that is your time. Please share this channel. Tell somebody that we're up here, we're motivating, we're inspiring, and we're encouraging people to be better, to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 o'clock. And so I will close by saying this. Let's keep on building community. Let's keep on maintaining connectivity. You all keep your heads up, but more importantly, keep your hopes up. Let's stay safe and let's stay sane. Because you choose to share your time and space with me, please understand that from my heart to yours, there will always be much love. Good night.